Number one is to make more money. You've got to make more money, period. And you do that with your job and you do that with your small business. Step number 6 is multiple streams of income. We want to take that small business and turn it into a large business. And we want to take you through a wonderful class by Steve Gibson. Steve Gibson is the founder of the Academy for Creating Enterprise. He has students all over the world that do intensive face-to-face classes and groups. And they've allowed us to be able to take this digitally to be able to give it to you as well. So this is a class that we want to get you into because you've got to make more money with your small business. You just have to do it. You got to make more money with your small business. And then we got to get that invested. So I've got Kurt online with us. Kurt, if you're up and rolling, come on in. I'm going to turn the time over to you and we're going to let you talk about small business.
Glad you're back. Lesson 5. We're taking a deep dive on starting right now. Even if there's no jobs, even if you have little hope, we're going to give you hope. We're going to show you ways to make big changes in your life. And of course, we're going to start now, do it now, a little bit every day. That's our goal. That's our focus. Hopefully you're doing the homework. No, you need to be doing the homework. That's what's going to make a difference as we walk through this together. So let's get into it and talk about change. Remember the quote by Gordon B. Hinckley? We are making it possible for people to learn skills they never dreamed of acquiring and to raise their standard of living to a level of which they previously had little hope. But you have to start now. We have to make those changes now. We have to stretch you a little bit. Remember we talked about it last time where it's like exercising for the first time in a few years. We're stretching you. It might be a little painful, but after a while you'll start to crave it. You'll start to like it. It'll start to feel good. That is the key to change. Because sometimes we're just doing things because we picked it up from society. We picked it up from parents. Sometimes we don't even know where we picked it up. Sometimes we're doing things that make no sense, but that's our habit. That's what we do. In fact, I love this story. This new couple was married and she was getting a ham ready to cook and she cut off both ends. And the husband's like, well, why are you doing that? It's kind of a waste of meat, isn't it? She says, I don't know. My mom did that. That's what you do. She's like, so they called her mom. She says, why do you cut off the ends of the meat, of the ham? Why do you do that? She says, I don't know. My mom did it. So she calls her mom. She says, why do you cut off the ends of the meat? She says, well, back then I didn't have a pan big enough for the whole ham. So sometimes we pick up things along the way. So analyze your habits. Are they helping you go towards your goals? Are they hurting? Are they crazy? Are they good? Are they bad? That's what it's all about. So our concepts today is change brings new results. Remember, we cannot keep doing what we have always done and expect a different outcome. Number 2, achieve prosperity by changing. If we live in poverty, then achieving prosperity requires change. Change is good. We resist change? No. Changing your income, changing your future, changing your children's future, that's what it's all about. Number 3, have correct beliefs about money. We need to have correct beliefs and attitudes about money and business if we are to be successful, no matter our culture or background. Money's neutral. Just like gravity. Gravity, is that good or bad? Well, depends if you're walking or falling from a tree, but these things are neutral. It's there. It's what you do with it, and it can be a great blessing in your life. So here's our objective. Students will change their beliefs and attitudes regarding money and business, enabling them to progress toward prosperity through starting an income-generating activity, an IGA. So we're adjusting our beliefs, so things we've picked up in attitude. Remember, attitude comes from expectations. You need to expect to be successful. You need to expect to do better. You need to expect to become financially independent, to take care of your family. Whatever it is you're doing, that's attitude. If you have a negative attitude, oh, it won't work out, why try? Other people are smarter than me. Whatever you're focusing on is going to happen. So focus on the good things, adjust your attitude, adjust your expectations, work on the beliefs. I'm not saying your beliefs will magically change overnight, but those negative beliefs will slowly erode away to where you can replace them with more positive beliefs. So during this lesson, we're going to explore more the necessity of change and identify where you are now on the path to prosperity through business and how we can progress together. We're going to examine examples of how culture and mindset can influence business and success, and understand our own beliefs and attitude toward money and business. So change brings new results. Change ahead, things are happening. This is good. Hopefully you're excited. Check your pulse if you're not. We are on the path to change, to make a big difference in your life. So let's talk about donkeys. First of all, those negative people in your life. I know there's a saying in the Middle East where they say, don't bring your donkey in here, meaning your attitude. So we've got Aunt Edna, Uncle Bob, whoever they are, that everything you try, it's not going to work out. They are energy vampires, as we call them. They just suck the energy out of you, they suck your life out of you. Don't let them pull you down, number one. Number two, story of a donkey that fell into an empty well. And it was way at the bottom. The owner's like, oh man, what are we going to do? The donkey's at the bottom. They're like, oh, whatever, just let it sit. It's an old donkey. We need to fill in the well anyway. And so they just started putting dirt into this well. And the donkey's like, not happening, and they put a little dirt in. The donkey would shake it off, stomp down the dirt. They'd throw more dirt in. He'd shake it off, stomp it down, more dirt. And eventually, the dirt get higher and higher and higher and higher. And the donkey was able to jump out. All about being persistent. Sure, people are going to throw dirt on you. What are you going to do with it? Sure, it's not fair to the donkey that they tried to bury it. They just made the best of it, was persistent, kept doing, and it saved its life. Be persistent, keep doing, stay on track. Don't let the negative people around you pull you down, because change ahead, we are going to make this happen. And we're going to do that through minor changes here and there, adjust this, do that. That's what it's all about. And we're not talking about alteration. That's where you just kind of change when people are watching you. I had a good friend, hey, they were eating healthy, people were watching, but when nobody was watching, they were off to the fast food place. That's alteration. We're talking about true fundamental change. The theme of this lesson is a fundamental principle of life. If we keep on doing what we have always done, we will keep on getting what we have always got. It's not going to change. In fact, let me tell you this fable. Once upon a time, a frog lived at the bottom of an old, deep well. This frog believed that the well was the entire world because the frog had never ventured out. It's never been out of this well. Every day it would leap upward in hopes of seeing what lay beyond the well's mouth, but would only find itself back at the bottom time and time again. One day, another frog hopped by and looked down into the well. So this frog, peering down at this frog that's in the well, says, why do you stay there? The world outside's vast. It's full of wonders. It's incredible. So the frog in the well, the curiosity got the better of him. Finally, it gathered its courage and with a great big leap, managed to get to the top of the well and peered out. So this frog that was living in the well was astonished to see the sky and the fields and the other creature it had never seen before, never even imagined. In that moment, the frog realized that its perception of the world had been limited by the walls of the well. So from that day forward, the frog ventured beyond the well, discovering a far richer experience. What's the moral here? Sometimes breaking out of your usual patterns and trying something different can lead to amazing discoveries and new experiences. So what's your well? What do you need to leap out of? What do you need to change to make a difference in your life and in your income? We think of poverty as the inability to provide fresh water, shelter, medical care, adequate food, enough meals a day, and an education for one's family. Again, jump out of the well. Even if the people around you are negative or saying mean things, you've got to jump out of that well. Let me give you an example. Have you heard of Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, billionaire? He was going to Harvard University, right? Good school, going to Harvard. And this is when computers were starting to come out. And he's like, that's it. That's the future. And he decided to quit Harvard to get into the computer business. Can you imagine what his family and friends said? What are you, crazy? What are you thinking? You're at Harvard. What are you doing? But his heart was telling him to quit. And that is the key. Follow your heart. Can you imagine when he talked to his guidance counselor? Oh, no, stay here. Go work for a large company. Whatever it was, he followed his heart. And so you're at the point now when you're thinking about becoming more successful, starting a business, an income-generating activity. You need to follow your heart. You need to listen to the people that have done it before. Don't listen to the people that aren't doing it. Listen to the people that are doing it. That's the key. Oftentimes we find that the average person feels that they can do nothing or almost nothing about these circumstances. However, that is simply not true. This course will teach you that we can and we must do something about our circumstances. Remember the quote, if we keep on doing what we have always done, we will keep on getting what we have always got. We have observed thousands of individuals and families make behavior changes that have resulted in starting and growing an IGA and businesses that help improve the quality of life. We each can do the same. However, if we keep doing and believing what we always have, then nothing will change. Remember the quote, for things to change, you must change, and for things to get better, you must get better. For your income to change, you must change, and for your income to get better, you must get better. Start working on yourself. That's why we're going through this, to improve ourselves, to improve our quality of life. One example of this is an experience Stephen W. Gibson, founder of the Academy of Creating Enterprise, had while traveling with his wife. One day, as Steve and Betty were gathering their luggage at the Seattle, Washington airport on the way home from the Philippines, an airport worker offered to help them with their suitcases. Steve agreed. As they were walking towards getting a taxi, Steve noticed the man looked like a Filipino. He asked him if he was, and he said yes. Steve also noticed that the man looked rather old to be helped carry heavy suitcases and asked his age. He said he was 82. Steve exclaimed that was 12 years older than he was at the time, and that Steve should be carrying his own suitcases rather than this man. Steve also asked the man if he was married. The man responded yes, that his 79-year-old wife worked upstairs in the airport cafeteria serving meals to the travelers. Why are you still working? Steve asked. The man replied that both he and his wife needed to work so they could send money home to the Philippines to his two sons and their families. When Steve asked about the ages of the two sons, the man replied that one was 52 and the other was 50, and that he needed to send money home so his sons could have food for their families and pay for their children to go to school. Obviously, the sons had kept on doing what they had always done, depending upon their parents, as such were not financially stable or self-reliant. In fact, they were likely teaching their children to do the same, thereby continuing the problem of relying upon others for income. The path to prosperity through business can be represented by this chart. As we see, we must each move up the chart through small steps. We cannot develop a large multi-employee business without first launching a small income-generated activity. So take a look at this, where you are now. Are you at the bottom? You're 5. You do not have a job or an income-generating activity. 6, you have a job. 7, you have a job and an income-generating activity. 8, have income-generating activities providing a good income. 9, have a business providing a good income. And 10, you have a business with employees. So where you are now, where are you starting? Be honest with yourself. Take a look at it. And our goal is to move up this chart, move up this ladder. And with any ladder, you have to start at the bottom. You can't start at the top. As we see, we must each move up the chart through small steps. We cannot develop a large multi-employee business without first launching a small income-generating activity. To identify what we need to change in order to make progress, we each must first understand where we currently are. So pick your number, where you are now, and the goal, of course, if you're 5, move to 6. If you're 6, move to 7. If you're 7, move to 8. 8, move to 9. 9, move to 10. That is the key. That's what we're working on. So we should ask ourselves the following question. Where do I follow this chart? Well, most of us will start with a 5, 6, or 7. This Start Now course will help us move to an 8, 9, and eventually a 10. That's our goal, to get to a 10. It will take time for us to achieve such progress, but it is well worth the effort. So decide where you are now. Decide on your goals and visualize it. See yourself getting there. Other people that are doing it, they're not smarter. They just decide to change and decide to do it. And what I want you to do is to visualize, before you go to bed, becoming a 10, getting to the 10. Think about Olympic athletes. How many times have they visualized that gold medal? Thousands of times. And every time you visualize it, it becomes more real in your mind, and those negative thoughts start to erode away. And it creates that burning desire. See, if you're stuck on worry, it's because your vision's not strong enough. Hopefully you caught that. If you're stuck on worry, which is a form of fear, it's because your vision's not strong enough. You can't see yourself doing it. So visualize it. See yourself becoming a 10. Visualize that income generating activity. That's the key. So think about that again. If you're stuck on worry, a form of fear, which could keep you from making those changes, you need to start visualizing the success. Visualize yourself with a bigger bank account. Visualize yourself taking care of your children. Whatever it is, start visualizing, start seeing it, because the universe will not reward you physically until you see it mentally. It has to be created mentally first before it happens physically. That's just one of the laws of the universe. Because vision, more than anything else, will dictate your day-to-day decisions. Without vision, the people perish. You've heard that before. So start creating a mental image. Most people like to do it before they go to bed. Maybe you want to do it when you get up. Maybe you want a vision board where you cut out different pictures of the things you want. You look at it. If you're a visual person, get a vision board. Maybe you need to write out a vision statement where you talk about the car you're driving and the home you're living into and your perfect day, your perfect life. Write it out. Go big or do all of them. Whatever works for you. Remember, the universe will not reward you physically until you see it mentally. Visualize it. Be like the Olympic athlete. Olympic athletes have visualized it so many times that it really doesn't surprise them that they won. And that's what a great vision does. It just becomes more real, turns up that burning desire, it erodes that worry. So let me say it again. If you're stuck on worry, it's because your vision's not strong enough. You're not spending enough time visualizing your success, visualizing that income generating activity. It is a fundamental skill of success. So back to the chart. Decide where you're at. Be honest with yourself. And start visualizing. If you're a 5, visualize 6. If you're a 6, visualize 7. And all the way to the top, start visualizing becoming a 10. That is the key to prosperity. So your homework is to move up a number. Come up with a game plan to move up a number. So first of all, decide where you're at. Second of all, make the goal to move up a number. And third, as we talked about, start visualizing that success. Start visualize yourself achieving your goals and making those changes. And keep exploring the necessity of change. You know, why that change is necessary. Think about that 82-year-old airport worker. They had a good heart. They were giving back to their family, but it wasn't helping them. It wasn't helping the family situation. They thought that was the only way to do it. So if we obtain the knowledge and tools necessary, can you start making those changes today? Can you improve your situation? And start thinking about some of your past victories, changes you made in your life. Because when you're feeling down, when it gets hard, when your neighbor says something negative, think about those past victories. Create a victory list of the times in your life where you had a victory, you made a change, you made it happen, you made a difference. Start thinking about those, focus on those, and it'll make a big difference. So do your homework. We're moving up a number, we're visualizing the new number, and making those necessary changes in your life. So thanks for being here. Do the homework. Start making those changes. Start visualizing your success. Write down your victory list. And you're on that path to success. And that'll change your life. That'll change your family's life. And you can go out and make the world a better place.
Thanks, Kurt. And as you know, the 7 steps are very simple. There's 7 habits. There's 7 secrets. There's 7 things that you need to do. Number 1, you need to make more money. And you need to do that with your small business. And you need to learn and study successful people. There's all kinds of classes in the foundation for that. This is a wonderful class that you should be going through, but all of you need a small business. You need it for tax purposes. You need it for an extra income. You need it to teach your kids about success and money. That's step number 1. But guess what? Step number 6, we want to take that small business and turn it into a large business. I've got all kinds of businesses that I've done. We lived off step number 5, which is to save and spend. The money I made from my job, we lived off that. And all the money we made from our businesses went right down to 7. Network marketing, we did that for quite a while because after the heart attack, I was on these wonderful products, still on these products, still taking, 30 years later. And we made millions and millions of dollars in that. Guess what? All those money, every week a check goes right into this investment account. Do you want to know why we're wealthy? Because we are doing step 7. We're doing the wealth formula. you can too. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back with our next.